Hi, I'm Jake. I've been drawing Pokemon since I was 7 years old. In today's video we're going to be looking at bug types, which happens to be my favourite type. We're going to be looking at some old designs that I made in 2023 and how I've now updated them. We're also going to be looking at how this happens to be a bug type. If that sounds like something that you're interested in, stick around to the end of the video. I first drew this Fakemon line back in 2023, but I wasn't quite happy with the way that they turned out, and I feel like my style's evolved since then. So they're based on tiger moths, specifically the caterpillar stage of them, which are well known for being quite fluffy and fuzzy, and I'm pretty sure that their fur is actually quite toxic and irritant as well. So that gave me an idea that I could use in the lore of this Fakemon. Instead of making a normal, boring Route 1 bug type, I wanted to make it a bit more interesting, so heavily leaned into the feline aspect of it being a tiger moth. And that's where the secondary theme of a Cretan wildcat came in. They're actually called a Furokatos, if I'm pronouncing that right. Introducing Tigerpillar, the silk cat Pokemon. Its fur is fuzzy and soft. Unfortunately, it is also very irritant if you pet a Tigerpillar for too long. I gave Tigerpillar the starting moves of Scratch, Growl and Pounce because I thought that fit the feline aspect, and also String Shot because that's not actually a tail in the back, that's a load of silk that it's produced. For Tigerpillar's stats, I based them off Venonat because this is actually going to be a 2-stage line. So you can see there the original evolution that I drew back in 2023. I did have a brief attempt at trying to repose it, but I actually loved this Fakemon so much that I thought, this design can't be tweaked anymore. When I originally made this Pokemon, I remember thinking long and hard about how its wings would work. I wanted them to appear like a tiger's face, and that be a defense mechanism against its predators. So in Rhodes there's actually a valley called the Valley of the Butterflies. I thought that that would serve really good inspiration for a route in this region, which is where you would find this Fakemon. At level 15, Tigerpillar evolves into Furokatine, the wildcat Pokemon. A playful Pokemon who likes to avoid battles. When threatened, it spreads its wings to scare predators. Its name is a mix of Furokatos and the species name for tiger moths. I gave it the ability Intimidate to link to its lore, and for the eagle-eyed of those watching, you'll have noticed that it's the first normal and bug-type Pokemon. It seems to be a recurring trend that there's no reasoning behind the shiny colours, I just thought they looked cool. I quite like the trend in regions that there's a nice bug and a nasty bug. Think Butterfree and Beedrill, Leavanny and Scolipede. So I thought that this line that I drew, again back in 2023, was sort of the opposite vibes to Tigerpillar and Furokatine. I loved the first stage, didn't hate the middle stage, but felt that the final evolution needed the biggest overhaul, so we'll get to that. But for now, meet Grud, the mud grub Pokemon. Grud coats itself in mud to keep itself cool and safe. When threatened, it will spit blobs of sticky clay. This evolution line is based on mud daube wasps, which is a species of moss that wasps that builds its nests from mud. They're mostly yellow, but some are black, which is why I've made the shiny black. For Grud's evolution, I wanted to tie in the theme of pottery, which is iconic for ancient Greece. With this being the middle stage, I wanted it to look quite cocoon-like. I toyed with the idea of it being a mimic, as you can see on the left-hand side, but in the end I went with the amphora look. I made its antennae look like the handles of the pot as well. At level 10, Grud will evolve into Puphora, the potter Pokemon. Puphora craft its clay shell to protect its soft body. Each Puphora have a slightly different pattern. Here's the original final evolution of the line, and back in 2023 I was really proud of it, really liked it, and I still do like the idea, I'm just gonna upgrade it. I was just very conscious of it looking too similar to Beedrill, and also it's meant to be a bug and ground type Pokemon, but I made it fly. I know that's not necessarily a bad thing, thinking of Gliscor, but I just thought I could do better. So I went back to the drawing board and used some of the scrap designs as the basis, because I felt like the proportions were much closer to the real world animal that the Fakemon was inspired by. Still wasn't happy with the design, so I went back to my tried and tested silhouette method to try and get out what was in my head onto the canvas. In the end I decided on a much more grounded design, with big chunky legs covered in mud, and I imagine that the wings are still there but just encased in that pottery shell that it wears. In my head I just have this idea of this big hulking wasp ant-like creature stomping towards you and stinging you with that giant tail, which I think contrasts well with the speedy special attacker Furocatine. For my colour choices I stuck with the same palette, just made it a bit more saturated, and for the pots I made them a much more terracotta colour. You can even see I used a plant pot as a colour reference. At level 18, Puphora evolves into Terracotta, the potter Pokemon. It still wears the armour it made when it was a Puphora, although it has outgrown it. Over time, the armour has become even more durable. I gave it the battle armour ability because I thought it was a cool way to represent how hard its pottery shells were, and for its stats I put them into defense and physical attack and dropped it down on special attack and speed. For the shiny I stuck with that black theme and essentially just inverted the colours and tweaked the colour of the terracotta cots. Terracotta cots? Terracotta pots. So the final bug type of this video was actually unplanned, and the idea for it kind of just hit me when I was driving home from work one day. You can see that Wishy-Washy is there in the corner, and I was thinking of doing a regional form of Wishy-Washy or a convergent evolution that was bug type, and it also mixed in the themes of mosaics. In the end I didn't go with a bug type Wishy-Washy because when I googled it I saw that Tubbs.az had already perfected this idea, so I knew I needed to do my own thing. I thought that I was happy with this little guy, but then when I thought about the design I didn't really think that it implied the mosaic theme, so I tried to make it a bit more square so in reality they could fit together. This little guy is called Buzzybody, the tile bug Pokemon. Swarms of Buzzybody communicate through clicking their wings. They align their bodies into large mosaics to unleash powerful attacks. So the idea behind the line is very similar to Wishy-Washy in that weak little bugs come together to form a massive monster. You might think the choice of moves is a bit rogue, but you'll see why in a second. It links to its new ability called Mosaic. And for the shiny I went with Pokeball colours just because I thought it looked cool. Similar to Wishy-Washy and Schooling, Buzzybody would use its ability Mosaic to transform into the swarm form when in battle. Essentially, to design this swarm form, I googled mosaics of a land, a bird and a sea animal, and I don't think that all those mosaics are actually from Greece, but I liked the idea of them. So I tried to keep them very isometric and square, because these creatures are made up of tiny square Buzzybody. I just have this image in my head of unsuspecting trainers walking past a mosaic in a ruin or something like that, and then the mosaic peels off the wall and attacks them. I just think that's pretty cool. I think depending on the nature of your Buzzybody, it would determine which form that this Pokemon takes when you send it into battle. So here are the 3 finished forms with the final colours and the shiny colours. You can see that I copied Wishy-Washy's Schooling form stats. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed these bug type designs for a Greek-inspired Fakemon region. As always, at the end of my videos I like to put in a sneak peek of what's coming next. And for those of you that follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen that I've been doing the Faketober challenge. So I've drawn a Fakemon for every day of the month of October, and I'm going to be sharing those designs with you on YouTube in the next video. So stick around for 31 Fakemon designs. Also, looking ahead into the future, I know a lot of people are asking for the evolution of the starter Pokemon, and I promise you they're coming. So in the future I'll be doing a video for the starter evolutions. I also want to do a video explaining the region in a bit more detail, with some examples of locations and other Pokemon that you'll find throughout the region. I also want to do a few more challenges, such as the random sprite generation, because that is my highest performing video, so you obviously must like it. And I'm hoping to do starters for that, because starters always do well on the YouTube algorithm. If you're excited for all that, stick around for the next few months, because I'm really excited to share the designs with you all. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.